Water from the island of Ireland, and you're very welcome here. Some have crossed the invisible barrier and come over the water from the Wirral, and you're very welcome too. I would particularly welcome you to Liverpool for two reasons. One is, of course, we are a major Irish city in our own right. When I first became a councillor here more than 40 years ago, and I know I don't look old enough, but that is actually a fact, 40% of our population could trace back their descent to Ireland. That's been diluted somewhat, but the way our city has developed, our culture, our accent has developed because of those Irish roots. And if you doubt that, just a short walk from here, we have the St Luke's Church, the derelict church, which most people see, quite rightly, as a memorial of the Blitz, because it was bombed during the Blitz. But in there is a memorial to the Irish people who fled the famine, wanting to set off a new life in the Americas and Australia and New Zealand, what were then the colonies. The only trouble was they were too weak. They didn't get there. They died on Liverpool soil, and we commemorate them in St Luke's Church with a memorial. Again, the Lord Mayor gave us an introduction about when he goes somewhere. He says he's going home to Milan. I have a slightly different story. I was giving a talk to the Federation of Mayors of America in a place called Arkansas. Now, that is a strange place, Arkansas. And I got challenged. I was talking about international. He said, "How many times do you go to Europe?" And I said, "I never go to Europe." He said, "Well, how can you be an internationalist then?" I said, "I never go to Europe because I live there. I do go to France, I do go to Germany, I do go to Belgium, but I never visit Europe. How can I visit the place that I live in any more than someone from Arkansas can visit America by going to New York?" Now, my recollections do go back to the referendum. And a lot of what we did was talking what I thought was fairly common sense stuff about jobs. I can remember in a room not far from here talking about the effects on our car industry of a potential Brexit. And those that didn't believe me, and there were a number in the room, accused me of being a liar. Or if they weren't accusing me of being a liar, they accused me of exaggerating. But as Alison quite rightly said, all our products, whether they pizzas or Jaguars, are made of bits and pieces that come from all over Europe. What is a British pizza? What is a British car? Such a thing doesn't exist. It might be assembled here, it might even be sold here, but it doesn't originate from here. And that was blindingly obvious what would happen. And now, when we say that's what we said, we got told we're not being patriotic by supporting Brexit and trying to make Brexit work. Well, it's my opinion that Brexit will never work. And I'm glad to be taking part in this bit about jobs, because yes, as a politician I have high-flown ideas about internationalism, about justice, about cooperation, about working together. But when I chaired the first referendum campaign alongside Labour and Tory members way back in the 70s, we talked about the European Economic Community, we talked about jobs, and we talked about prosperity, and that is what Europe has delivered for this city, and that's what we will lose if and when we lose it. And I can remember giving one very graphic example. I was actually speaking to a national conference 2 days before the referendum. They wanted a speaker because they couldn't go to a hustings in their own area. And we were meeting in the arena. And the room we were in had this beautiful view overlooking the River Mersey. And I said, I want to tell you one hard fact about the referendum. This will cause major problems for Ireland. And I didn't differentiate between the two parts of Ireland. And I said, there will be a hard border. And do you want to know where the hard border will start? I said, just look over the other side of the Mersey. And there, as local people will know, 6 days a week, there are two ferries, and they're end on. One ferry leaves for Dublin, one ferry leaves for Belfast, and they're end on because they're all supplied from by the same team, with no border, with no boundary, with no customs, And the the little truck things might pull a container in to the Dublin ferry, and the next one it goes picking the Belfast ferry. So if you wonder where the hard border will start in Ireland, for us it starts half a mile away across the other side of the world. Increased cost, increased problems for our poor. And I won't go into it, but I remember talking about the mushroom trade as well. As you just look at the number of mushroom lorries that come in, and everything we said has come true. But I just want to close by saying that's all very well, but what are we going to do now? So clearly, we, people like most people in this room, I suspect, will fight to the bitter end through any parliamentary procedure, through any procedure that's available to us to stay inside the EU. But I want to say this on behalf of most people in Liverpool. The UK might be leaving Europe, but I'm not, and I don't think our city region should either. So what I want to do is to work with the Chamber of Commerce, our own, the Irish Chamber of Commerce, all the other organisations, to say what is it that we are going to do to reduce the problems which will inevitably flow from the separation. So I would propose to our own regional mayor that we should have an embassy on the island of Ireland. Now, I'm not going to say where that should be, because when Donald Trump did it, it did cause all sorts of problems. But I think it would be very important for us to show physically that there will be a link, and that we will be looking to increase, not decrease, our environmental activities, our cultural links, our trade links, our educational links. Not least because two people here come from universities with a very high group of people from Ireland there. So what can we do over in the island of Ireland to make sure those links are manifest? But then the challenge to those of you from the Republic, and we do have to treat Northern Ireland a little differently, is will you create a consular position here in Liverpool? I don't think there is one at the moment, but it will be a tremendous political boost to us to say that the Dublin government recognises those links by creating an honorary Irish consul in this city to make sure within government terms, not just commercial terms or university terms, those links are maintained. Now, all sorts of things need to be done on top of that, but sometimes we as politicians need to make gestures. And my gestures that I suggest in the very short term are those two, to say that we stand united with the rest of Europe, and in particular we stand united with our Irish brothers and sisters who live so close to us and have created so much good for our city. Thank you.